Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions from the worlds of social media, sports, and pop culture. We are always privileged enough to have wrestlers come on our show, and we're speaking to two professional wrestlers this afternoon. I'm really excited to introduce the panel. First, we have former WWE superstar, half of one of the most known factions in WWE. We're here with, from Cryme Time, JTG. JTG, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Cheer.
And I find it's pretty funny when I was introducing you as Cryme Time, I heard a little siren in the background.
Yeah, the theme song, huh? That gets stuck in your head.
Which is pretty funny.
My mom's ringtone.
Yeah. So JTG is with us, and we also have a professional wrestler who had a little bit of a stint on WWE's NXT. Troy Mcguire is with us. Troy, welcome to Popternative.
Thanks for having me on, my friend.
No problem. Let's start with both of you. I find it's pretty cool because JTG, you were technically part of NXT for a little bit when they brought it as the NXT game show and the redemption with the NXT rookies. I just find that both of you were part of a different generation of NXT. So first off, JTG, talk a little bit about your experiences with the WWE and what you've been up to a little bit, and anything, opening remarks from your end.
What I'm up to right now?
Yeah.
Oh, right now I'm just enjoying life, man. I'm staying busy. I'm out here in Los Angeles, California. That's like the perfect spot opportunity for former wrestlers, because we're so going from wrestling to acting is like that's like the proper switch. We are performers by nature, and out here, I've been doing a lot of auditioning. I did something last month. That was fun. I'm looking forward to that's coming out in June. Then I'm also have an app that I'm launching in July that I'm excited about, and doing independent shows and just having fun, man.
Just keeping busy.
Staying busy, making that money. Yeah.
You'll have to excuse me too with my the viewers as well. I do have a little bit of a cold, so if I sound a bit,
you all good?
Yeah, and Troy, you've been pretty busy as well. I mean, you've been doing a lot of different things. I understand you went through a few injuries, which set you back, but you're still doing independent circuits. What have you been up to lately?
I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm out here in LA right now, doing the audition thing. But yeah, like you said, I was doing the independent scene. I was doing a couple shows, between here, Vegas, Phoenix. Had an unfortunate string of concussions that kind of set me back. Actually, I was when I was in NXT, I think I was about 220, 230. At one point in time, I was down to like a 169, I think, at my lowest. So it was pretty bad at one point. But I'm back on my feet now, doing some stuff, and then I'm also working for a company. We do catering for pro sports teams. As they do, when they go on the road trips and stuff, like with the Mavericks, the Dallas Stars, teams. And so yeah, I was probably awake 15 minutes before we started just now. So if I seem a little tired, it's just I just got up.
All good. Well, we're really happy that you were able to join us. And let's just start the questions. I mean, JTG, you were part of a very, a lot of people would say a very popular, for many years, tag team with Shad in the WWE Cryme Time. And there's been probably
It's an understatement right
there. Yeah, that's an understatement. But I remember it's just when you guys debuted, just right away, people fell in love with you guys. Was that what it was like from your end? Like when you saw, this gimmick, this is going to be it. This is going to resonate with so many people. It's going to be popular. Or were you a bit nervous that maybe the gimmick wasn't going to take off? What was the first thing going through your mind with the Cryme Time gimmick?
The first thing going through my mind,
I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident that the WWE universe was going to love us, but I didn't know they were going to love us like that and that quick. I thought we would have to grow on them. But our first time our music hit, the crowd loved us. We debuted at the Staples Center, and the response we got, I think the vignettes had a lot to do with it because Shad and I had a lot of fun doing them, and they were ready. They were kind of like ready, prepared for us. So when we hit the scene, when we came down that ramp, I'm like, God, they love us. And then we did a backstage segment with Booker T, where we were just we bombarded their it was Booker T and Sharmell and Michael Cole, and we just bombarded their little get together, and that really put us over too. That got a little rub from Booker T.
Oh man, no, it was great. So many moments, and it's just you guys, accomplished a lot as a tag team. There was a lot of storylines where you guys were right in there. It was just a really, really cool run.
Say that one more time.
So no, it was just a really cool run. There was a lot that went.
It was a very good run. A lot of people ask me, would you come back, singles or tag team? And I'll say I have to come back as a tag team because that's when I had the most fun. A lot of people they want to do their solo thing, but doing the tag team thing was a lot of fun, and the WWE audience loved us a lot.
Yeah, because when Shad parted ways with WWE, you actually stuck around for a few years as a singles wrestler, correct?
Correct.
And yeah, there was that must have been different right off the bat, right? Like just like the storylines, the chemistry, and everything.
Correct. I'm having a hard time hearing away from my headphones to kick in. I'm sorry.
No problem. No, I was just gonna say, how was the transition from tag team to singles, especially when you had so much success with Shad as Cryme Time? Must have been a hard transition at first.
The physical part, it wasn't very hard because there was a lot of tag team wrestlers that have a hard time transitioning because you're sharing half the work, you're sharing half the workload, and then especially in Cryme Time, I did most of the work. I was in the ring most of the time, so the physical part that was no problem. But I did have a hard time transitioning, finding because I was trying to run. I was getting mixed signals. I had one agent telling me I need to get far away from the Cryme Time gimmick as possible. Then I had another one telling me, that's what brought you to the dance. Why are you going to run away from it? It was like, so what am I going to do? So I was kind of in limbo for a while, and I didn't think I had enough time. I didn't have enough communication with the writers. They didn't really give me that much direction on my new character, so I kind of had to figure out on my own.
Absolutely, and Troy Mclain, a lot of people know him from NXT. What I find interesting, Troy, and I've been really dying to ask you this question, is you were part of like the first real NXT, because there was an NXT that was involved with a lot of wrestlers that were on contract at Full Sail University and training in Florida, but they moved it to Full Sail University, and you were kind of part of that first wave of the first generation of NXT. Did you know right away that, or did everyone know in the locker room that once they put the cameras at Full Sail and all the storylines and the gimmicks, did you know it was gonna be as big as it has become? Like, were you like, wow, this is something special, or were a lot of people kind of not sure?
Yeah, I think from the start, that was exactly what Triple H, had always told us was he wasn't, he didn't want it to be developmental. His goal was to make it its own brand. And, obviously now we see it is, we've gone from, going and wrestling in front of 20 people in Stark, Florida to now they're selling out, 5,000 seat arenas and doing huge things. So yeah, once you get that kind of production value, and especially with the talent they have down there, I think it was just a matter of time before it became as big as it was.
And yeah, no, absolutely. Because I remember, it's funny, when the first time they ever added the NXT roster on the WWE website, boom, you were right there, Troy Mclain. You were part of that first official NXT roster, man.
Yeah, I have my own trading card in Europe apparently, and it was just kind of someone sent it to me, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy.
And how does that make you both feel? I mean, JTG too, like doing autograph signings and people recognizing you. I mean, it comes with the job, and I'm sure it's overwhelming at times, but I'm sure you never trade it for the world, right? JTG, it's like it's such a blessing for a lot of wrestlers to be recognized for your art and your talent in the ring. And like, what do you think about that aspect of it? I mean, I'm sure you get recognized all the time still, JTG.
Oh, not so much anymore because I grew the beard out. But yeah, definitely that's WrestleMania. This past WrestleMania weekend, I had they since it was so saturated with wrestling fans, I got that double look, like, and then I'll look back at them like, yeah, you're JTG, and yeah, it kind of it does feel good to be recognized for my my creativity and what I've done in the ring. And it's been over 10 years now. Since Cryme Time debuted, and they still love us. I still get the Cryme Time social media every day. I get at least 5. When you coming back? Can you come back? And it feels great to get the autographs, and I like to be able to go back and forth between regular life and then wrestling your superstar. I like to be able to flip back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, now some questions for both of you, and we'll start with Troy, and then JTG you can answer after Troy. Simple question, but what in your opinion is the hardest thing about being a professional wrestler? Whether it's the traveling, whether it's the physical toll on your body. I mean, a lot of wrestlers I've had on in the past have had different answers to these questions. So I'm just curious, what is the hardest thing, in your opinion, Troy, about being a professional wrestler? There could be a few answers, but...
I think the hardest thing is just, in my case, the hardest thing is now it's kind of, especially because I'm not right now medically cleared by a couple of doctors to compete. I'm still trying to find somebody that'll say, "Hey, yeah, go ahead and do it." But the hardest thing right now is I'm watching all of my friends on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. You know what I mean? Me and Rusev play FIFA online all the time still, and then I'm seeing him on Raw or SmackDown kicking ass, and so right now that's the hardest part about me. But what I didn't know going in, especially, was the why JTG sideways. What I didn't really know going in was, I came from college football, so I always thought I was in really good shape. And then the first time you get in the ring, it's a whole new level of being of fitness and training. You don't understand until you finally do it. So adapting to that from other sports, it was definitely the biggest challenge at first when I got started. I know for sure.
JTG, what about you? What was one of the hardest things? Was it the traveling? Especially when you were with the WWE. I mean, you're traveling like almost 24/7 at one point.
I wouldn't say it's the traveling. I wouldn't say that it's the in-ring physical part. I would have to probably say it's the politics. That's why I wrote a book about it. Damn, why did I write this book too? How to Play the Game. Plug. That's why I had to. That's the hardest part, because in the beginning I didn't even know there was a game, and then when I did find out about it, I opted out. I didn't want to play the game. I wanted to get over all my good looks and talent and my in-ring ability and my mic skills and my creativity, and that's only, I'll say, 30% of making it to the top. So that's why I had to write a book about it and smarten up other wrestlers and wannabe wrestlers and people who are actually wrestling at the moment. It's definitely the politics and playing the game.
Absolutely. No, we've had a lot of wrestlers on the show. I was just on with, Donovan Dijak, who's on Ring of Honor. And then I just had we had Maria Kanellis Bennett on the show, who just recently left Impact Wrestling. Yeah. And there's a little bit of rumblings that she might be back in the WWE. We're not sure at all. But when she came on the show, she was talking a little bit about a few of that things, how it's just hard, to it was hard, to always be under the microscope and do certain things, and it was like there were certain things that she wanted to do and that they wanted her to do, and it was just there was a lot of that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, a lot of wrestlers have had success and see it as everyone wants to be in the WWE because it is the place to be, and I think many wrestlers would still want to be in the WWE even after maybe reading your book, right, GTG? I'm just saying, like, it's still the dream, and it will always be
Oh
the
yeah,
dream.
it would definitely always be the dream. Even after you read the book, after you take the red pill, you still want to play in the Matrix.
Troy, after your release with NXT, did you ever have any like thoughts about like what happened, or if anything could have been different, or is there anything from your angle you could have changed, or what was that all about going through your head? Because I understand it was a tough time, but maybe it was kind of like a little bit of maybe a blessing in disguise, where you could have you had the opportunities to pursue like more acting and less professional wrestling. Like what was going through your head when that happened?
It was a bit of a relief because now you're not constantly being watched 24/7, and then you can especially now when you can go out and you can work a show and you don't have to worry about coming back to the curtain and being criticized on everything, every
Everything.
every little possible thing that could have gone, whatever. Now you're strictly based on, well, what did the crowd think? You know what I mean? And that's who you do it for, is the fans in the crowd. If you get a huge pop from the crowd, then that's a good match, whether you think it is or not, because you can go out there and screw up, but if they still love it, they still love it, and that's what you're there to do. As far as my release, I don't have any regrets. I think, for the longest time, Dusty Rhodes was my biggest fan, and I just did everything because I thought he was going to take me to the promised land, and I know he should have, because I remember the day I got released, hearing stories about him in the office at the Performance Center. He's like, "Oh, what the hell are we doing?" It was like, the guy looks like a movie star. What the hell are we getting rid of him for? And you know what I mean? He was always my biggest fan, and I learned a lot from him. And so now that trying to transition into other things, I think working with him especially is helped and is going to go a long way as far as where my career takes me now. So. But yeah, blessing in disguise, I'd say, is a pretty good assessment.
Troy, has anyone ever told you that you look a little bit like Tom Brady?
Yes.
JTG, doesn't he kind of look like? I mean,
He
it's
kind of
like
looks
he's
like Tom
wearing a
Brady.
green.
Yes, he
He
does. Now that you
does.
mentioned it, yeah.
You really like. You definitely from the. I know you're wearing the Green Bay. And then
Oh yeah.
JTG, man, JTG, when you first like logged into the podcast, I saw your hat. The first thing that came to my mind was the Cryme Time theme song. Like right away. Brooklyn, Brooklyn. So good
Fans are
job,
dying to
man.
hear that song again.
Um, I saw an interview, JDG, that you did with Shad. I think it was a couple years ago, where they asked you if you'd go back to the WWE. I think it was like,
Mhm.
I think maybe this was like before you wrote your book. But you know, is it tough on? Do you think? I know you can't speak for Shad, but do you find it's tough for him as well? Like when you said about the singles competitions, where like you being a tag team, it would be kind of difficult, especially when you go to indies, you go to wrestling shows, when just one of you is there and people want both of you. Is that a tough route for him as well? I know you can't speak for him, but do you think like, because I know you're still close with him, do you think that's tough for both of you? Because
Oh, it's definitely tough for both of us.
yeah,
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 yeah, because
because
especially that I was there longer. I have a little bit more popularity than him, than Chad, especially writing a book and having more of a bigger personality. I'll say on stage personality than him on camera. Definitely, when people see him, they definitely think JTG automatically.
yeah,
I also believe that we work better. as a team anyway. We play off each other, and not only that, like behind the scenes, me and Chad are hella cool. We're like brothers. We know what each other is thinking without even have to say anything. We have like some type of weird telepathy power or something like that. So I know where he's going with something. That's why when we were on camera, we just worked so great together, and the chemistry was great, and the fans picked up on that. The question was if we would go back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
And,
I mean, I'm sure. Depending, I mean, I know it's tough for you when you wrote the book, but like, I mean, would you go back? Yeah, I'm asking you.
yeah, after swallowing the red pill, after I have to be under certain conditions. Yeah, definitely have to be under certain conditions.
Troy,
A
what
lot
about
like
you?
when I.
Troy, would you go back?
I think, yeah, definitely. That's where you want to be, and the 10-year-old kid inside of me still wants to be Shawn Michaels, and then if you want to do that, that's where you got to be. So, I think I definitely would, because I left there on good terms. I have no hard feelings against them. It's a business. It is what it is. But at the same time, when I got there, I hadn't really been training that long, as opposed to some guys who had been wrestling prior for 10 years, and then I'd shown up at a tryout, and after about 3 months of training. So right now it's just like I need to get more experience and just kind of get in the ring and do my thing a little bit longer. So like when I get back there, I know I'm ready and to give it, a better shot. Because that was my. Oh, go ahead.
Continue. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that was always my biggest thing is character wise. I always had the backing from the writers, from Dusty, from the coaches, because I had the motivational speaker character.
Yeah.
And which everyone consistently loved. My promos every week was great, and it was just kind of them always waiting on. Well, we need them to be able to go, 15 minutes with whoever. So that's kind of what always kept me waiting, and always kept me on the sideline. Was just waiting for that moment to finally come to tuition. So yeah, I think definitely for sure I'd go back if given the opportunity.
And JTG, to get back to your thing under certain conditions, but I understand that both of you do the indies, you do like wrestling shows here and there, but would you go to like another like wrestling organization that would be like more full time? Like, would you go to the Ring of Honor or an Impact Wrestling? Like, JTG, has any of that ever come to mind or come an opportunity arise from other organizations aside from the WWE?
Yeah, TNA came to me with, they talked to me about a character, and the money was right. Yeah, I'll definitely go over there. Money talks.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up, but guys, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, JTG. We didn't really get to talk about the social media, but where can people follow you on social media, and where can they purchase your book?
If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter, JTG1284, on Instagram, JTG121084. My books, you could find it, also the audiobook too. The audiobook is narrated by me, so you definitely want to get the audiobook. The audiobook and the ebook, you can find it on Amazon, Google Play Store, iTunes. The link is in my bio and both my social media profiles. You definitely want to pick it up, especially if you're an aspiring wrestler. And if you're going back and forth, if you want to be a professional wrestler or not, this will definitely give you some what's the word I'm looking
Perspectives.
for? Perspectives, yeah, behind the curtains look of the wrestling culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, JTG, thank you so much for coming on, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And Tom Brady, thank you so much for being with us. Troy, no, seriously, Troy, thank you so much for being with us. Where can people follow you?
I don't give out my Twitter handle. I just tell people if you search Han Solo on Twitter, I'm the only verified one. So
Yeah, what's up with that, by the way? What's up with the Han Solo?
that actually, I did that. My Twitter name has been Han Solo for probably 7 years. And
Wow.
even before, like, because I remember the day they announced that they were going to do a Han Solo movie. And I woke up one day and all of a sudden I had like 1,500 new Twitter followers. And I was like, what did I do? And then I finally read the story of they announced the movie. And then a bunch of people thought it was me that was playing the character. And so I just left it as it was. Hoping Disney asked me to, like, I'm just waiting for them to tell me to, hey, you got to stop this because we own that.
Here's the thing: if they make that movie about Tom Brady that they're saying they're gonna make, boom, stuntman right here. Tom Brady's double and stuntman is right here, so they should give you a
Yeah.
call. Perfect. Well, Troy, JTG, thank you so much. This has been Pop Alternative. You can catch previous episodes of Pop Alternative on our YouTube page and on iTunes and on SoundCloud for audio only. We hope you enjoy this interview, and we hope you follow JTG and Troy on all their social media and keep up to date with what they're doing. Thank you. Until next time, this is PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.